want to.
You've already gone live. I hope you know. Everybody. Okay. Dr. Fatima, please move to the center of your screen. We can't see you properly.
You're live.
We are live on on YouTube and Facebook now.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. So good afternoon and welcome everybody to Soapbox Science Lagos 2020. While we wait for the audience to build up, we are just going to do a couple of icebreakers with the speakers. We'll try and make it fun and interactive. So I'm going to ask our speakers. The question is, what do scientists eat? What do scientists eat? Now, I hope you're not going to tell me that you're eating algae or, nematodes or some weird kind of plant when you're in the lab, because I know you can spend hours and hours in the lab. So, scientists, tell me what you eat. I'm going to start with Dr. Adenowo. What is your favorite food?
Well, as a scientist, I eat normal food just like every other person.
So which one is your favorite one?
I love rice. I love plantain too. I can eat anything made of plantain anytime. Tea, just normal food, nothing special as a scientist. Thank you.
All righty. Okay. So Dr. Adenowo says nothing special. Okay. Dr. Elias, what's your favorite food? You're on mute.
Well, I like to eat a lot of plantain, a lot of potatoes, and my green tea anytime, any day.
Okay. All right. I don't know if there's a theme there. Tea and plantain have featured twice now. Okay. Dr. Adesalu?
Thank you very much. I would say, like other colleagues have mentioned, scientists eat normal food, but we are mostly selective when we are picking those foods at the market, especially if it has to do with your area of specialization, it has to do with infection and all that. So when you see some peanuts that has those white patches on it, mostly anybody in pathologists will not pick such granules because he or she understands what gives that mark to that granule. And if you go to market to buy vegetables, when you see all those patches, all those dark brown on your vegetables, they are mostly to be removed by scientists when he or she gets home. So at the end of the day, we end up buying vegetables worth of 500 naira, and at the end of the day, we end up cooking just like 100 naira out of that 500 naira worth of vegetables.
Wow. Ooh, so even from just answering that question, I've already learned something.
We are selective. We choose what.
Oops. She's gone on mute. Dr. Adesalu, unmute your hand. Go on. You were saying?
I said our knowledge of science in some cases torment us in choosing what we need to eat.
Yeah.
And mostly scientists don't eat lots of food, but they eat quality food. And that quality food, all agree with me that they are expensive.
So in all that, what's your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food would be vegetables with mushrooms.
Okay. Nice. I've learned even from just what you said now about when you go to the market and when you're choosing foods. Thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Salisu, what's your favorite food?
I was just thinking when you asked that question because of my area of specialization, I am very, very careful with eating any food. I always choose any antioxidant rich food. I'm very, very particular about antioxidants. So any food I want to take, be it pap, be it even water, I have to mineralize my water, put lemon or lime. If I'm eating food, it has to be garnished with ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. So I don't just plain food. So I'm always, so even when I'm going out, we have maybe a powdered moringa with me, so that in case maybe I just have to grind something, so I have to sprinkle it on any blank food in case. So I am always looking for, I'm always garnishing whatever I'm going to eat with antioxidants, all those spices.
Why moringa? Anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, it's actually good for the brain. It's good for healthy living. It's a good antioxidant. It can detoxify any fats, any sugary. So I'm free to eat anything as long as I garnish them with what will neutralize the harmful effect.
All right. Thank you for that. Dr. Afolayan, so what's your favorite food?
Well, my favorite food is fresh food. I'm environmentalist. I am concerned with how my food are grown, how fresh they are, how healthy they are. Do they have something that could harm me? So when I go out to the market, I'm going for fresh food. And if I can get from the farmer that I know they are really doing organic and they are doing safe food, I go for it. I actually have a garden too, so I enjoy fresh food. Now, the favorite of them all that I take most of the time is the vegetables and fruits, because I want to have my shape in place. I don't want to blow out. I have the tendency to be fat. So I take more of pawpaw. I like oranges. I like fruits. Like this morning, I'm taking pawpaw before joining you guys. So, but if it is solid food, if it is the one with carb and all that, I take a little of rice and plantain like every other person.
So you have a lot of favorite foods there. Okay. All righty. Thank you. Mrs. Lawal, your favorite food? You're on mute.
Oh, yes. Thank you. They call me, they say I cook pharmaceutical food. Also, my children call say in the house. So I'm tagged a cook that cooks pharmaceutical food. Well, because like any other sciences, I'm very health conscious. So I insist on very low salt, avoid fries, organic foods, and all of that. So because of that, they say I cook pharmaceutical food. So my best food actually is beans with stew, and the canal fish on top of it. That's lovely for me. That's my best food. I just love it.
Okay, thank you for that. Miss Anwoju, Fatimah Anwoju, what's your favorite food? You're on mute.
I think I just like rice and I think just rice. And any other, I'm not picky about food actually. I think I like rice, and that's all. I'm not this favorite food person.
Okay.
I really do not like finger foods that's swallowed. But rice for me is okay. I'm not choosy, I'm not picky. And any other thing that is edible, as long as mouth is eating that thing, let me eat it.
All righty. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just like.
All righty. So as we're seeing, scientists, look like they're eating what we eat. Okay. Dr. Samuel, what's your favorite food? You're on me? Okay.
Yeah. My mantra is always to make my food my medicine. But my favorite food is yam, boiled with a lot of vegetables.
Okay. Thank you. I think she's frozen there. Yam and lots of vegetables. Yeah, sounds like what I like as well. So, Farmer Ahmed, what's your favorite food?
Food. I'm not much of a big eater, but lately I found out that I cannot say no to eba and eforiro. I could go the whole day without food and just drink a lot of water and eat fruit and I'm fine. But when I get home and my cousin is like, Auntie, I'm sure you've not eaten today. Eba, would you like eba and efo? And I'm like, yes. So I guess that's my favorite food now.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Elsie, from Elsie, what's your favorite food?
Mine is actually yam as well. Yam with vegetables and some fish and other local condiments.
Okay. I thought there would be a pattern, but everybody has a variety of favorite foods. So to our audience, you can see scientists eat what we eat. Okay. Right. So let's get started. You've known a bit about the speakers, but we're now going to go into depth. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Elias for the welcome.
Thank you, Flo, for the icebreaker. I thought scientists were going to tell us that what they eat is actually what makes them scientists. But I see that we're just normal human beings eating normal food. I mean, that's very good to know. Well, welcome everybody to this year's Lagos Soapbox Science November edition. It's my pleasure to, on behalf of my colleagues on the team, present these wonderful 12 female scientists to the world. We will hear from them what they do, what they've been concocting in their labs, and what they've added to the body of knowledge. Soapbox Science is a program that began with 2 female scientists in 2011. Dr. Subna and Dr. Petrelli conceived this idea in 2011, especially to make an inroad into increasing the number of female scientists in STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine, and mathematics. It is to showcase what the women who are already in these fields are doing, so that everybody can see that female scientists are also very brilliant people. Now, Soapbox Science also encourages the younger generation to come into STEM. How do we operate? As you would come to see today, we're not going to be using any of our gadgets, although we have many of them. We're not going to be presenting or talking to you from within our laboratories or our amphitheaters, no. What we will do in the spirit of Soapbox Science is talk to you about what we do. Normally, we would be on the streets, as we did last year and the year before. But because of the current situation, the COVID-19 pandemic, we've been constrained to stay within our homes and speak to you from behind our computers and other gadgets. Normally, we should be on the streets so that you could, see us standing on our soapbox and discussing what we normally do. We didn't want to cancel in spite of a COVID-19, and therefore we decided to come to you live, streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. So we welcome you once again. Please listen. You've watched our videos. We hope you have watched our videos in the last 2 days. These beautiful, very talented young ladies scientists are here to answer whatever questions you want them to clear up whatever you may need clearing up after watching their videos. Feel free, no question is senseless, no question is unimportant. We are here. We hope you've brought along your young children. from the icebreaker, you've seen that we're just normal people, but doing exemplary things. Okay, so we welcome you once again, and we hope that you will stay with us and enjoy the program as much as we will enjoy bringing it to you. Thank you and welcome once again.
All right, thank you, Dr. Elias, for that. So now we're going to get to know the scientists a bit more. Before we go to the audience questions, I'm going to ask 6 of our speakers some more questions, and they will give us some more insight into what they do. So the first question I'm going to ask is, and this will be, let me start with Dr. Abdulsalam. What is a usual day like in your role?
Good afternoon, everyone. Normally, I wake up 4:45, say a prayer or two. Then as a wife, because I'm also a wife, I'm a mom. So the house chores, get the children ready, prepare everybody for the day, because I'm the homemaker. The mother is the homemaker. I'm a scientist. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a homemaker. So I get everybody ready for the day. Then I live in Lagos, and the traffic is part of life. So by 6:30, we're on the road, get the children off to school, and by 8 o'clock, I'm on my desk. Basically, I teach and I do research in computer engineering, stroke electrical and electronics engineering. So for my normal day, if I have lectures, I go to class. If I don't have lecture, I schedule readings. I go to the lab to supervise the students for their practicals. And I also engage in other activities in the university, the administrative aspect of the university, because scientists are also administrators. We manage people, resources, and processes. We are like any other human being. So by 3:34, I pick the children from school. If there's nothing so urgent, I go home, and thank God for technology. So, you extend our work beyond the office with the use of technology. So as I'm going, I'm communicating with emails, you're attending Zoom meeting, you are chatting through the social media. We have office chats group where you can respond to questions. So, and I also work in the university as the deputy director of CITS. So we attend to a lot of complaints from students about results, registration.
What's CITS?
Center for Information Technology and Systems, University of Lagos. I'm the deputy director in charge of networking infrastructure. So we attend to staff complaints about network, student issues about login, because we also do solo teaching. We teach online, we teach offline. So we attend to students, we attend to staff. Staff have problems with logging into their system, email issues. I direct them to operations and everything. So as I'm going home in my car, most time I get lucky to be driven. So I keep working, I extend my work home. So by the time I get home around 5, when we are very lucky, Lagos traffic is, you have to plan for Lagos traffic every day. So by the time
that's included in the your daily road. The traffic.
Yes, Lagos traffic is part of our plan. So when you are making your plan with your timing, you have to be flexible. What if?
Okay.
So by the time we get home, I assist my children to do their assignments. And I also, we prepare dinner together. And normally we are Muslims, so we pray by 7, 8, and by 9:30, I like to be on my bed.
Okay.
Because I prefer early night. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. So the next person, I'm going to ask the same question. What is your a usual day in your role like? Just briefly and quickly, 1 minute. Elsie, from Elsie, please. Yeah, there you go. What's the usual day in your
Hi.
role like?
So I actually work with a pharmaceutical company in Lagos, and I work as a medical sales rep. So my typical day is I go to work, of course, traffic. Then I go to hospitals to like talk about our products and introduce new ones we have. Then I also work on research and development in the company as well. So I make research on prospective products we can introduce to the company, and basically that's what I do my day-to-day at work.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Miss Anwoju, please. What's your usual day like in your role? You're on mute.
Okay, thank you for meeting me. Presently, I work as a project manager on a grant. Okay, oversee the grant, like they work closely with the PI. It's on COVID responses in Lagos and some other states in Nigeria. So that is what I do presently, and attend to my own personal research too. I'm a psychiatry geneticist, so look for other things basically to like improve my research and to make findings on my research, attend to my personal work and attend to the project I am on as a project manager. Work closely with the PI on as to how the project is going to move forward, and my own personal research to work closely with my supervisors and because my other supervisor is not here, is not based in Nigeria, so work closely with my supervisors. If I have challenges, talk to her, talk to him, and basically that's it. The project, the grant, and my personal research. And
Thank
my
you.
time is very flexible. It depends on when I am supposed to report at work or when I'm supposed to report at school. So I can always plan my time by myself, and that's it. I do
All
not have
right.
a schedule.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adeleye.
Thank you to the team. For me, unlike the other speakers from the academic institution, I'm in the industry, and being the country account manager for a multinational is more tasking. Some days you wake up and you have to liaise with your other colleagues in other parts of the world, and time differences and all that. So sometimes I'm up from 5 a.m. When I mean up from 5 a.m., I mean up from 5 a.m. having meetings, sometimes up from 4 a.m., and sometimes I'm still up to like 11, 12 having meetings because you're actually working at a different time zone. That's one. Then two, sometimes you have to have might need to have meetings with some big wigs, and catching them, might have to have meetings maybe late at night. So it's like you are overseeing in-country dealers, overseeing the academic institutions, overseeing research institutions, like overseeing pathology or diagnostic centers, and dealers and people. So it's a lot of work, juggling between roles and places, especially the Lagos traffic, like Dr. Khadeejah said. You have to wake up, consider the traffic. If you would be having like 3 meetings in a day, you have to equally factor in traffic. And being a wife, it's a lot of work because you also need to factor in your home so that you don't get too carried away with work and the home front suffers. You get home and the next thing you're thinking of is going into the kitchen to prepare dinner. Then after that, you remember, oh, I still have a meeting by 8 p.m. or by 9 p.m. and you're back on your system. So it's like your routine dailies. And you also license. I also do another work with the COVID testing laboratory as a COO. So it's also like juggling between multiple roles, doing so many things at the same time, people reporting to you and expecting feedbacks from you. But I would say overall, it's interesting because it also helps me to keep on my toes, and I'm also developing myself daily. There's always something new to learn every single day, and every single day comes to a new challenge. So it's I would say I love my role so much, and I actually love my person.
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Adenowo, what's your usual day? What's the usual day in your role like?
To start with, I have a role as a parent, I mean, as a mother to my children, then as a wife as well. So that is how the normal thing that starts the day. As in, I wake up, carry out my spiritual aspect of life, take care of my family, then I'm off to work. Then I lecture. I'm a lecturer. At the same time, I carry out research in the laboratory. So when I go to lecture room to lecture my students, then within the time I'm free, I take time to sit down and then work on my research as well as a researcher. Sometimes I have to go to the laboratory to go and check on my students. Then I have to sit down on my desk and ensure that I put things together to at least ensure that I am bringing out what I do as a scientist in terms of writing papers, as in research papers, to let people have access to what I do and to read it in form of a research paper. So I lecture, I write, then little administrative responsibilities as a young staff of the university are also part of things I do within the university. Then thereafter, I'll come back home, find time. I mean, the minute I get back home, the family responsibilities are there. I do that. Then thereafter, I find time for myself as well to develop myself. I love reading a lot. So I always ensure that reading is part of my daily activity. So I read, I write, and then I take care of my health as well, because it is very important to be able to juggle all responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, Dr. Adesalu. You're on mute. Please remember to unmute yourself when I call you.
Okay, thank you so much. I will say that my colleagues have said most of the general routine for all of us, being a woman, a mother, a daughter, a wife, and a career person. But the only difference that are there is as a result of our individual area of specialization and the responsibility. So I would say that they've said the same routine. A mother will start her day taking care of the family and all that. As a lecturer, you prepare to go to class. As a researcher, you keep on being creative and bringing new ideas on table for your students to impact knowledge. As an administrator, because some of us, apart from doing research and all that, will also have this energy in going out for elections in the whole university, which I did. I came out last year to be subdean, School of Postgraduate, University of Lagos. Eventually, I won. So as an administrator now, I'm subdean, School of Postgraduate Studies, University of Lagos. So those are the things that I do daily. Despite the fact that lecturers now are on strike, as an administrator, you are not on strike. So I still go to work every day. And what do we do? Like Dr. Khadeejah has said, you are there to solve problem for people so that university will move forward. Those are part of the things that we do. It involves confidentiality, it involves diligence, and it involves focus. You also have to, patience, and you have to be focused when you're solving problems, especially when it has to do with student results. Someone has to get admission elsewhere in the world, needs transcripts, has to come to PG school and all that. So
a lot of hats that you're juggling.
Yeah, a lot of, but the joy of it is that it's something that you like doing. So you don't feel that you are stressed. And that's what I was saying. When you are doing something that you have passion, it's people that will be telling you that you are stressing yourself, and you look at them. What do you mean by that? Because you have passion for it. So at a point when people call your attention to it, then you have to pause so that to listen to your body. Because in most cases, when you are doing some things that you like, that you love doing, there's tendency for you not to get tired. There's tendency for you to ignore your total well-being. Yeah, total well-being. You are just committed. You are doing it. You are getting results. You are happy. And one thing that I think will be common to all of us here as a scientist is that we love seeing results. And when you love seeing results, you are not hungry. And that is why most of us will come out with ulcer, because you are busy doing research, you are having results, you are happy. In fact, if there is anything like hunger, it will not be in your dictionary at that time.
But we just talked about favorite foods. Anyway, let's leave it there.
You eat it every time.
That's fine. Let's leave it there. Yeah.
So it does not mean that you eat it every time. It's like something that if you don't have it, you look for it. But when you come to this real core scientist work that you are doing, that you are getting results, my sister, hunger will not find place in your brain.
Okay.
So it's a lot of multi-adapter vices for women, and for scientists, the good part of it is that you see what we are doing when you get the results.
When you get the result.
When you get the result, and when you are solving problem, you are happy with solving somebody's problem or nation's problem. Because remember, there's no way you come out to do your research. There's one problem there that you want to solve.
That you want to solve.
Thank
you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm on campus. I don't face Lagos traffic like some of my colleagues. They are jealous now.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Thank you very much. Everybody, here is a researcher, like we've said, and it's come across that you're enjoying the work that you're doing. So the next question I'm going to ask the speakers for today is, what's the most fascinating aspect of your research that we want the audience to know about? What's the most fascinating part of your research? So I'm going to start with Elsie. Tell us the most fascinating aspect of your research work. Elsie?
Well, because of the field I work in, so I work in pharmaceuticals and then I work in a company. So it's mostly, well, to be fair, it's mostly when something you've initiated gets accepted, and then it gets introduced, and then you have to see through the process that, oh, okay, so this new product that I've thought of and brought in is actually what the company agrees with, and they want to work on building it or bringing it in.
Yeah.
So that basically that's what's exciting there, when you have to then have your own product brought in, you have to see through to the stage of it getting manufactured and imported and then in the market. So when it's in the market, that's joy, basically.
So when it gets to the market, that's the most fascinating bit.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. Dr. Adeleye, what's the most fascinating aspect of your work, of your research?
Well, for me, for the research aspect, when I'm able to work with the researchers or the academicians to get results on that particular research, because when I introduce myself, I say I'm a research consultant or a scientist who is geared at developing projects and creating solutions. So once the solution is created, be it a kit, be it a health solution or something that can impact the economy or agriculture, there is this joy that just comes from within. I can't explain, and I feel like I won $1 million.
I can imagine the feeling. We have someone from Facebook, Josephine, commented that when Dr. Adesalu was talking about no hunger, you don't think about hunger. She said no results, no hunger.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way for you scientists to eat while you're trying to be excited about your results and everything. Because you have to keep going. The body needs, nutrients to keep going. All right. Okay. So, Dr. Adenowo, what's the most fascinating aspect about your research?
The most fascinating aspect of my research is when I have that idea of, okay, will this yield a positive result? And then I dabble into it, and then eventually I got the result that is desired. I'm always so happy that so this is the outcome of what I thought, and it is coming out the way I want it. But at the same time, if it doesn't come out the way I want it, then it is also an opportunity to put in some other idea and then get things done, maybe in another way to get the desired result. Then another thing is when I am able to put what I have done, as in the outcome of my research, when I'm able to put it out in maybe in a written form, in form of publishing it, then each time it comes out, I'm always very happy. I could remember the last time I wrote a review when it was accepted, and then I got response from the publisher that it has been accepted. I called my children and said, yeah, it's time for celebrate, and I bought something for them. They were so happy. So they are always looking forward to, has that paper been accepted? Are you writing so that we can celebrate again? So it is always so fascinating having that.
They're looking forward to the goodies when you get published. That's why, right?
Exactly. Yes. Actually, they are doing that.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Miss Anwoju, what's the most fascinating aspect of your research?
Okay, is my step moving closer to being a transitional researcher that I've always dreamt about. Actually, translating from being just an ordinary researcher into a researcher into making my research into a product that people can actually use and make life better, especially in the area of mental health science. Because mental health science is still an area here which is underrated, that is not really known. The stigmatization is still high in this part of the world. So being a transitional researcher in psychiatry genetics, like having a product that can be used in mental health science that will help mental health patients, that is one thing that gives me joy, that okay, I am in this gray area and I am moving and working towards being a transitional researcher in psychiatry genetics here in this part of the world, and any other part of the world too, moving from Nigeria and globally too. So that's one thing that keeps me going, that gives me this joy that okay, yeah, someday, one day, transitional researcher Fatima, being psychiatric geneticist in Nigeria, helping mental health patients and changing the mental health science across the world. So that's one thing that gives me joy, that drives me more and gives me the passion to always move forward and learn more and do more in my research.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so same question to Dr. Abdulsalam.
Okay, thank you. Apart from all that have been said, because those of us in academics, is either you publish or perish. So you're always happy when you publish. Also, one other thing that gives me joy is when you see yourself being reproduced in your students. The role of mentor, mentee, and mentorship is very important. We are supposed to produce our successor generation. So we should also make sure that we impact this knowledge to our students, that we should not be content being the shining light. We should also, when I see my students doing well, it gives me a lot of joy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Adesalu, what's the most fascinating aspect of your work?
Yeah, thank you so much. The most fascinating part of the work will be the whole work. The whole work in the sense that algae has not been recognized anywhere in the part of the world. So it gives me joy to be in that area that not so many people, even in Nigeria as I speak, and also in such area where there are lots to be offered to the world, not only Nigeria. If I may add here, this area of specialization have given me lots of naming ceremony. When I say naming ceremony, there are many organisms out there in this area of specializations that are still asking for people to come and identify them.
Oh, wow.
So I've done some of naming for some of these organisms. It can be checked online. And
Give us one name. Give us one name.
One of the name is Paraphysomonas nigeriensis.
Wow.
I named after Nigeria. There is another one, Discotella onyanensis.
Wow, this one sounds like a dancing algae. It sounds like dances, Discotella.
Discotella, yes.
Is it a dancing algae?
This was identified at Onyon Dam. So I named it after the dam, Discotella onyanensis. So there are many that have been named after Nigeria, many that have been identified first in Africa.
Wow.
So it gives me joy to had those values. Now, what we are doing is, having identified some of those organisms, what are we using them for? Is the application. That is where the untapped protein sources came out, because they are rich in antioxidant, protein, and all that. And recently, I must add that it's not only that. Recently, I've produced a biodiesel for these organisms. And the biodiesel produced were used to test run the vulcanizer machine. And it goes a long way. So there are so many breakthroughs that are in this area of specialization. There are so many breakthroughs that I had in this area of specialization, and that gives me joy. Then another.
Oh, looks like she's frozen. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. Now, looks like the network is playing up. Okay, so now we've talked about your favorite food. We talked about the most fascinating aspect of your work. We've talked about, what a day in your role is like. Now, what I want to ask is, how was your journey to this, where you are now? We have the audience watching. We might, we have young female and young girls watching who maybe want to be scientists. We have young boys who are watching also who may want to be scientists. So I just want
hear me now. Thank you.
So I just want you to tell us what your career journey has been like. What courses did you have to do? What did you have to do? Now I'm going to say just 1 minute limit, because we're running out of time, because it's been a fascinating discussion so far. So the first person I'm going to ask to tell us about their career journey is Dr. Adeleye. Can you hear me, Dr. Adeleye?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. So
yes. Did you hear my question?
Okay. The career journey.
Yes.
It has to do my career journey. Okay. Well, first I had to do a PhD. I would say first I had my BSc in plant science from Oluwatoyin University.
I was going to say.
I was having.
Now I was going to say, before you got your PhD, you must have done something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was having my PhD, really, my BSc, I had this passion for genetics.
Okay.
And I was so fascinated about the field of genetics that I made up my mind I was going to have a MSc and a PhD in genetics. So I switched schools and
just what, for the audience, what is genetics? Just in 10 seconds, what's genetics? We need to let them understand. We need to get them to get excited that they might want to go into genetics. What is it about? And then you carry on with your journey. Yes.
Okay, genetics basically just talks about that unit of inheritance, the study of the unit of inheritance known as genes. And that's what makes you look like your parents and make your parents look like their grandparents and like that. That's just a simple way to explain genetics. Okay. What's that thing that makes you, okay, my grandmother has a big ears and now you have a big ear, or you have the yellow skin and oh, my great grandmother had the yellow skin. It's all about.
Ooh. I think the internet has paused there. Okay, while she tries to come back. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Dr. Adeleye, are you back? If you are, just unmute yourself and then carry on.
Okay, great. So after that, I got so much interest in genetics, wanting to study wanting to understand more about genetics. And I decided to have the Master of Science in Genetics. And luckily, and to God be the glory, with lots of input work and all that, I actually graduated tops of my class. And after then, I proceeded to have my PhD because you talk about being so passionate about knowledge. I'm very passionate about knowledge because I believe in being the best in what I can do. So I aim for the top in everything I do. So after my PhD, while I was actually having my PhD, I got involved in the industry and this sparked interest in the industry. Though initially I wanted to be a lecturer, to be candid, but I realized I could achieve much more being in the industry personally. I'm not saying it is wrong to be a lecturer, But I realized I could work with the academic institution, work with the research institution, and see how we could then marry these two centers together through the diagnostics. So that's my PhD was actually in genetics that has to do with gestational diabetes. So it's not just about, okay,
all right.
Genetics aspect, but now how well can we apply this genetics to treatments? So that's where the industry comes in, and being able to marry the knowledge from the hospital. So it's been an interesting journey, and yes, I had to learn, I had to understand a lot of people, and I had to work with even friends, learn from friends, and I would say I'm still learning, because my fellow colleagues were speakers who actually bear me witness. Even having a PhD is not the end. There is still so much more, like Dr. Adesalu was saying, there is so much more untapped outside that is still needs to be learned. And I'm still in research, I'm still doing research, and I'll still keep doing research. And I don't intend to retire soon.
That's good. So you went from BSc to MSc to PhD. Is that correct? Dr. Adeleye?
I'm not sure I heard that.
I said you went from BSc to MSc to PhD.
To MSc to PhD. It was a long journey, but it was worth the work.
But before your BSc, I'm taking it that you did science for your A levels.
Yes, I did science. So I've always been interested. I actually wanted to study medicine, but somehow, some way, found myself in botany, plant science, and I almost lost interest. I actually lost interest. I was devastated.
Okay.
But I just told myself I was going to be the best in whatever I do, irrespective of being a medical doctor or whatever. And I would say everywhere I've been a trailblazer. So to the young ones out there, even if you still don't have, if you're not given that course you want to study, aim to be the best in whatever, wherever you find yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's great advice. Okay, Elsie, please tell us your career journey. What courses did you have to do? How did you end up in this career? Let's see.
Okay, yeah. Well, I've always had interest in science, and I've always been inquisitive. Well, right from when I was small, so I did sciences in secondary school, and then went to university, and I had my BSc. And
which subject?
Well, I had my BSc as well in botany. It was in UNN, and that was I think that's a very common Nigerian story. It's not really what you want to study that you actually end up studying a lot of the time. So I was in botany, and then it was a very good, nice, interesting 4 years of studying botany. But then I wanted to still go back to to humans, and then so I opted to go for an MSc in pharmacology, which is the study of drugs and the interaction between drugs and the human system or animal system. So so it was going into pharmacology that has now brought me into this industry, into what I do, and obviously pharmacology is a very interesting course. It's not so studied so much here in Nigeria. It's mostly pharmacy, and then it's quite similar anyways if you've done it from BSc, because you can still do that and still work as a pharmacist in hospitals and pharmacies basically. So yeah, so I did pharmacology as my MSc, and then now I'm working in research and then in in sales in my company. So
awesome, fantastic. So for the pharmacology lovers there, what's pharmacology? What is it the study of?
Well, yeah, that's what I said. So basically, this study of interactions of drugs like humans and humans with drugs, basically how we interact with the drugs we take, which is basically a lot of things that are drugs, both the medicines and even the ones that you do not know that you think it's food or you think it's a drink. They're all drugs. So
yes, I mean there was an analogy I was taught that pharmacology is the study of what the body does to the drug.
And what the drug does to the body as well.
Yeah,
so
which is the pharmacokinetics. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Elsie. Okay, we're just going to see what's happening with the audience, and we'll just say hello to a few people. We have Tijani Uthman joining us from Ikorodu, representing Lagos. Yes, yes, yes. Let's give them a good welcome with thumbs up or a clap. We have Nicoletta from Germany. Hello, Nicoletta, Lübeck in Germany. Thank you for joining us. We also have Amusa Asabi from Ikorodu as well. Ikorodu is really repping this afternoon. We have Josephine also joining us from the UK. So you're all welcome and thank you for joining us on Soapbox Science 2020. So, Dr. Adesalu, what was your career journey? 1 minute. Now we're running out of time. And we have other people listening in. Hello to everybody. Thanks for joining. Dr. Adesalu, you're on mute. Oh.
Yeah, as mentioned by every other person, I'd wanted to study medicine. I ended up in botany, and up to now, I don't regret studying botany. I did botany first degree, second degree, and PhD level. I haven't gone to botany. I identified this area of specialization called phycology, and I did my project, first degree project on it. I was fascinated and impressed, so I moved to it in second degree, master's, and also the PhD. It has been a long journey, but a fruitful journey for me. And I also want to say that this area of specialization, the phycology that we're talking about, fortunately, some of us are botanists on this platform, so they understand what I'm talking about algae. And you see, here is Dr. Adesalu that's taking that thing that you people run away from. My pharmacologist friend, my farm friend, I stay back to take charge of algae. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So what's phycology?
Phycology is the study of algae.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
This algae, I don't know. I'm still running away. You have to still convince me a bit more. Maybe other people can take that baton. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Adenowo, what's been your career journey?
Thank you. I was a science student as a high school student in secondary school. I was keen about being a science student. Then thereafter, I wanted to study medicine, but I wasn't. I couldn't get that done. So in the process of okay, maybe I should try again, I went to the Polytechnic. I studied food science and technology. Then thereafter, I tried again to get admission for medicine. I couldn't get it. So eventually, I had the choice of either choosing between. I had the choice of either biochemistry, yes, microbiology or chemistry. So I just felt microbiology, chemistry. Let me just combine the two together, and I decided to go for biochemistry. And then after that, I was in Lagos State University, Ojo, in Lagos. So after my BSc, I am someone that loves knowledge, as in I am always interested in improving myself. So I decided to go for my master's almost immediately, not quite long after my BSc. I went for my master's. Then after my master's, I still wanted to study medicine, but the challenges of, a lot of challenges were there. So eventually I taught for some years as a secondary school teacher. Then I got inspiration to do my PhD through my husband. He actually encouraged me that, for how long will you stay where you are not interested? Because I wasn't actually interested in teaching in secondary school. I was actually interested in either being a medical doctor or lecturing in the university as a researcher. So eventually I went for my PhD. Then shortly after my PhD, I was able to get an appointment as a lecturer with Lagos State University College of Medicine. And I love what I am doing as a scientist. I love teaching. I like writing and reading and all that. And I like impacting on people too. So I'm happy being a biochemist. And then that's all.
Thank you very much. Right. Dr. Abdulsalam, what tell us your career journey?
Thank you.
But before you start, I'm just going to say everybody wanted to read medicine. So if all of you were doing medicine, who would do all this interesting research that you're doing? Eh?
I didn't want to do medicine.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I didn't want to do medicine. Though my father wanted me to be a doctor, but I didn't want to. I was gifted with math, with figures. I like figures and I have the gift and I love mathematics. So the natural thing for me to do was to go into the physical sciences. So I did computer engineering Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. So immediately after my service, I did computer science MSc, and I started my career there as a graduate assistant. So after my MSc, I came to join my husband in Lagos, and I was lucky I got a job in Yaba Tech. So shortly, I think within 6 months or less than a year, I got another appointment in University of Lagos. And because I'd always loved to do my PhD, and it would be easier for me if I'm in the university environment to do a PhD because it is required for career progress. So I changed up from Yaba Tech to University of Lagos. That is so. At University of Lagos, the computer engineering is domiciled in Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. So I had to work with my supervisor to carve an hybrid area that will suit the electrical engineering and computer engineering because there is no PhD in computer engineering as at that time. So that's why we had to do something on computation algorithm that has to do with computer, applying it to electricity demand. So that has been the journey so far. Okay, I went to a girls' only school, my secondary school. So I didn't experience discrimination because we're all girls. No boy was looking down on us. We were competing among us. And I think that gave me confidence. So by the time I got to the university, the guys, of course, in my class, I think we're just 3 or 4 guys, 4 ladies. Around 50 in the class.
Wow.
I think we're just 3 or 4 ladies. But we were not intimidated, and all the ladies were able to pull through to the end. So that's the journey so far. I never wanted to be a doctor. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I feel you. I never wanted to be a doctor either. Can't stand the blood. Okay. Fatimah Anwoju, tell us your career journey.
Okay, I also want to say that I never wanted to become a medical doctor.
Yay!
No. Because of the fact that I love biological sciences right from the beginning, but I did not want to become a medical doctor. The only question I'd always ask while I was young is, okay, why am I different from my sisters? Why do my sisters have long hair? Okay, why do you have light skin and I have a dark skin? So the question keeps coming that, okay, why is my father bald? Okay, mommy, why are you light skinned and I am dark skinned? So why am I different from my younger sister? Why is she taller than I am? I always ask those questions. Then my mother would not always give me the direct answer that it is God now, it is God. But I didn't know that there was something called unit of inheritance, the gene. Why I'm different from my sisters, why is my father different from his brothers and all that. So along the line, okay, secondary school finished, I still do not have an idea of what I wanted to study. I did my JAM, okay, I entered for microbiology in Lagos State University. Then while I was in school, I realized that, okay, we offer different courses, genetics. I did genetics, microbial genetics, and I loved it. Okay, this is how some microorganisms actually acquire some characteristics. And okay, that means if this thing occurs in microbes, then there must be something too that is responsible for why I'm dark skinned, why do I have brown eyes, why do I have long nose, why do I have short hair, why do I look like my grandma, those kind of questions. Then I had this lecturer then, he's into biostatistics, then he does some genetics too. Then it was one that brought gave me the inspiration. Okay, there's something we call genetics. Wow. So this is the name of what I'd always wanted to know. And okay, then he said that, okay, there's this school, University of Lagos, that offers genetics. Wow. Then that means I can pursue this particular journey. That means there's something in genetics that will give me the answer to what I have been asking all this while. Then, funnily enough, I like the structure of the brain. I'll always ask, this thing, it is not bone, it is not meat, it is just a tissue. Regulating the human being, coordination and all that. Okay, there is something called behavioral genetics that, okay, it is from this brain that somebody, you can coordination and all that. Then let me go for behavioral genetics. And then along the line, I realized that there's something called psychiatric genetics too. Psychiatric genetics is a subfield of behavioral genetics, which we study the inheritance pattern of mental health. Then, I just said, this is it, psychiatric genetics. And psychiatric genetics is not studied in Nigeria like that. I do not have anybody that I can say, okay, I am in their shoes studying psychiatric genetics. I just had my supervisor that who is a geneticist, and I have the psychiatrist that, okay, if I can have a psychiatrist, I can have a geneticist, then I can always be a psychiatric geneticist, and bam, that's it. So I am into psychiatric genetics. So me, I do want to become a doctor. I love biological science, and I love the structure of the brain. I love genes, the study of the genes. I love study of genetics. I love psychiatric genetics. I'm hoping to become a translational researcher in the field of psychiatric genetics someday. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Awesome, awesome. You see, she's winning me over to want to become a psychiatric geneticist, right?
Yes, yes.
Although when we did genes in biology, man, I didn't understand it.
No, it's very interesting. No, very interesting.
Yeah, maybe if you explain it to me, I might. I know. Let's see. I'm still deciding.
For the rest, I'll know after Soapbox. Yes.
All right, thank you. So, just a few more comments from the audience. We have Oladeji joining us from Ikeja. He's currently at the Lagos State University of Medicine. He's happy. His comment is that he's happy to be learning from all the scientists here. That we're all doing great. Josephine in the UK has said it should be on Nigerian. We should be on Nigerian television, so that everyone can see the great work that you're all doing. I agree. We need to find a way to get on TV channels. Let's see, TVC, Arise. Okay, let me see. Add NTA. So maybe next year, Soapbox Science will go, on national TV while on our boxes at the venue. All right. Do I have any questions from the audience? Please put it in the comment box. It's time for your questions, audience. Let me know what you want me to ask the speakers, and then they can reply. While we're waiting for that, I'll just go through some more comments. We have lots of people listening in from all over.
Yeah.
All over the globe. I saw a comment now. I've missed it. We have Bamidele, Yomi Bamidele joining us as well. Let's have your questions. The speakers are ready. Dr. Adesalu, someone has commented on your presentation. They enjoyed it very much. And likewise, the other speakers as well. Okay. All right. Tochi, any questions for us?
Yes, we have a lot of questions. We have people that are listening in from different parts of the world. And so we have various questions from Germany, from the UK. It's really interesting so far. So the first question that we have today is, so we have a question from Yomi Bamidele. And he says, just going to pull that up now. And his question is for Dr. Adesalu, and he says, apart from algae that are used as antioxidants as supplements, are there other economic importance of them?
Dr. Adesalu?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I can go ahead and answer.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that question. There are other economic importance of the group of plants called algae. And one of those importance is the taking off of carbon dioxide from the environment and giving us oxygen. Because without oxygen, you and I will not be where we are today. So that is one of economic importance. Another economic importance of this group of plants called algae is also in carbon dioxide sequestration. that is cleaning up of carbon dioxide. We all know that we are the era of global warming, climate change era, and we even have issues of some microorganisms that are forming resistance to antibiotics that are being used. So those, our pharmacists, our pharmacologists will bear me witness on that their scientists are coming up with so many ideas to have these microorganisms to reduce the resistance value. So the same thing, these organisms add value to this climate change and global warming thing. And apart from that, one of those important things is that these organisms are the primary producers in any environment that we find them. So it means that the life depends on them. And there are many groups of these organisms, which time does not permit me. But I want to say that we have many more economic importance: production of oxygen, taking up of carbon dioxide, clean up of the environment. They also take up heavy metals. Some of these organisms take up heavy metals in an environment, thereby making environment to be favorable for other organisms to survive, and many more. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I hope that answers your question, Oladeji. Dr. Tochukwu, any more questions?
We have another question. This time it's directed to Dr. Adenowo. It says, what is free radical?
Yeah, free radicals are substances. Specifically, they are
okay.
They are atoms, but that's unstable form. They are found in the body. They find their ways into the body system, and then they do that.
Okay, Dr. Tochi, should we take another question while the network comes back?
Stabilize them. Oh,
Dr. Adenowo, you were breaking a bit there, so you would have to start your answer again. I'm sorry. Go on, please. Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Yes, please go ahead. We didn't get part of your answer, so you have to start again, please.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine.
I said free radicals are substances that found their way into the human body. And then when they do that, they are chemicals, they are chemical substances specifically. So when they find their ways into the human body, they could be in different forms. Some of them are, when they get into the body specifically, they are not stable. So they will have the tendency to tap energy from the surrounding cells to make themselves, make themselves stable. So in an attempt to make themselves stable as chemical substances, they will cause great damage to the cells they are tapping energy from. So generally, they are responsible for, when they are in excess specifically, they are responsible for various diseases and disorders that are known in human, among the human, like heart diseases and so on. They are also responsible for some forms of cancer as well. So they cause damage to the human cells. And then once the cells are damaged, the human body is made up of cells. So once the cells are damaged, the organs are damaged, then generally there will be disease states in the individual who is undergoing such free radical reaction. Hello.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. Thank you. Right. Just to let everyone know, these questions are coming live as people are watching right now from across on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. So, Dr. Tochi, what's the next question?
Okay. Our next question is directed to Miss Elsie Chidebe, and it says, how long does it take for a drug to be developed? How long does it take, rather, for a drug to be developed from the lab to when we can see them in the hospital or the pharmacy?
A drug development actually takes, it can take up to 20 years sometimes. This is because of the processes involved in this development. So first of all, there will be a disease, and then And then scientists have to go to the lab to figure out what compound would best work better on this, like what compound are best stable or would best work on this disease. So in that process, for instance, there are lots of there'll be lots of how do I put it? There'll be lots of research done in the laboratory. So most researchers actually in universities that work on on drugs or diseases actually work towards a drug development. So some could be biochemists, some could be microbiologists, some are pharmacologists, some are pharmacists. So everyone basically have their role to play in the drug development process. And so due to the fact that you have to actually test this drug on cells, so in the lab it's tested on cells, then after cells it goes to animals like rats, and then from rats it goes to high animals, probably dogs or monkeys, and then all these things take processes. So they're basically like 3 phases. So there's the phase 1, which is a laboratory, which is like the first stage basically, and that stage alone could take up to 5 years in some instances. And then by the time you get a stable compound that's able to work on these cells, then you get to the next phase where you test on animals, probably rats, dogs, monkeys, and then you get to the clinical trial phase on humans. And for the humans part, due to the fact that it's a disease and it's a new compound, you would have there's usually smaller groups of humans for the first phase. It's probably 10 people, 8, 5, due to how serious the disease is, or how sensitive it is basically. And then when there is a positive response from these few humans, then it goes to a larger group of people, to about say 20 people, then in some cases to 100 people. And it's also done internationally as well, because drugs that say a certain race of people could take and have no negative reaction to, can be taken, let's say in Africa, for instance, and then we would react differently to these drugs. So drugs will be tested abroad, say in Europe, on there, and then come down here to Africa and be tested here as well, to be sure that we all have similar reactions and that there are less chances of side effects on this drug. So then so all these processes take a very long time. And then there's also the parts of the drug regulatory body that would be involved in every step of this process. So from the lab, so after you've done the lab, you have to have say the FDA or the NAFDAC, for instance, would come in and check to verify your results and be sure that what you have actually done to be sure that what you have said it does is what your result says it does, then before it goes to others. So on each phase, there is the drug body, which is there to monitor each process. So basically it takes a very long time, about 20 years, depends. So we actually have scientists who have worked in drug research, and because of how long it takes and the amount of money involved, it's very expensive. It takes billions of dollars to produce a simple drug. It's very, very expensive, and companies that do this invest a lot, which is why we also have other organizations that support them as well, and sometimes the government supports them in these drug processes. So we have scientists who have worked in a lot of drug development process that actually haven't even seen a drug that they've developed or that they're developing get to the market, which is because by the time it gets to, maybe it would have passed the lab phase and then animal phase, and then it gets to humans and then it fails. So we might have cases of very severe side effects, which would make it impossible for that drug to go on to the next phase, and then they would have to go back to the laboratory and start afresh and to see how far they can come. So it's a very long process. Sometimes you would get approval to go on humans, you get to humans and then it fails. So you go back to the lab and then all that money sometimes is wasted as well because it is what it is. That's just basically how it is. So drug development process takes a very long time. It takes money and it's very important that we have more scientists in that field because it also requires lots of should I say smart people or people working together basically, because you could be in this lab and you're doing this thing and then there's someone far away in a different continent doing something similar as well, and then when you go to like maybe conferences or you watch a program such as this one, you would actually realize that oh this person is doing what I'm doing, and then you collaborate and all, but it takes a very long time anyways, about 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Elsie. All right, any more questions, Dr. Tochi?
Yes, we have lots of questions flooding in. Like it's been a flood so far, which means it's really interesting. So I have a question for Dr. Abdulsalam. And so this question is, I think it's just a personal question. So you've talked about artificial intelligence in your talk, and I've heard about Internet of Things. Can you explain what these terms mean?
Oh,
okay. Thank you
yes.
for the question and thank you for the interest. Artificial intelligence, like I said, is a way of making computer to have artificial intelligence like human beings, creating it's a process whereby we teach the computer an object, to also make decisions. We build knowledge base for them. The knowledge base based on the subject area is going to be specific. If you are going to use this particular device, this particular model for health, for example, for the health, we need the doctors, all the people in the health industry to come and give us knowledge base. So the computer scientist will not build the knowledge base, which the computer will use to make decisions. They'll build the knowledge base based on the symptoms and diagnosis of diseases in that area. Then the IoT is the future, Internet of Things, where we have objects, small objects that are able to compute, such that all of us become, all objects can be computerized, even though human being will be computerized. So that for me, for example, now, I can have some IoT devices on me, taking my vital signs and putting the record somewhere for my doctor to take decisions about it. So, and that is the future of the computer. And they all use basically the same technology. It's going to be on communication technology and with a little intelligence for the computer. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So is that similar to, the kind of wearable gadgets we have now that can read your pulse?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an IoT. It's a wearable computer. It's an IoT. It's a form.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. All right, fascinating. Before we go to the next question, let me just say, let's see what the audience is saying. We have Dumebi joining us, but they haven't said where they're joining us from. Hello, Dumebi. We have Bamidele saying, good to hear the answers that the speakers are giving. Very inspiring. Yes, that's great. Someone is commenting on the Algae presentation. Dr. Adesalu, you might have some new recruits for your Algae work. We have Temitope Aderomu said, awesome presentation from all speakers. She's proud of each and every one of you. So well done to everybody. Your science is making a difference and it's interesting. We have Chisom watching from Dublin. Says it's inspired to see young Nigerians take up a career path that are challenging. Miss Elsie, kudos, keep up the good work. I like that comment too. We're all looking young. So research keeps you young then. Is that the case? So that's good. All right, Tochi, next question.
We've got a question here for Dr. Adeleye. And it says, is gestational diabetes a temporary condition, or can it last in the mother after giving birth?
Gestational diabetes is not outrightly, you can't say it's temporary and you can't say it's permanent. And that's because usually after delivery, the condition goes away. But women who have been tested or diagnosed of having gestational diabetes, usually most times, maybe in about 3-4 years, always have something we call the type 2 diabetes. So it's more like it could predispose you to type 2 diabetes later in life or increase your susceptibility to type 2 diabetes. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person would have diabetes.
Okay. I hope that answers the question. Thank you for that.
Okay, and moving on to, we've got a question from Miss Anwoju. It says, if someone gets depression, does that mean that since it's from their genes, there is no cure or treatment?
Who is that for?
Miss Fatimah Anwoju.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
No, can she repeat it again?
Okay.
Okay. So it says, if someone has depression, does that mean that because it's from their genes, there is no cure or treatment?
Okay. So basically, what we should know about depression is it could be of two factors. It could be environmental and it could be genetic. So if environmental in the sense that it could be as a result of some other environmental factors, say, okay, probably loss of job, loss of loved ones, that's with support, with community support, with family support, with societal support, that person can be all right in no time. That person will go back to their normal bubbly personality. But if it is identified that this person actually carries this particular gene that causes depression or predisposes someone to depression, then and there it could also be managed with support, with drug, because there are some drugs too that can be taken or that can be prescribed to help attack or address the neurotransmitters that have been identified to be fluctuating in this person as a result of the defective gene they carry. So with the environmental support, to the societal support, the family support, or the community support, and with the use of drug, then that person can be cured of depression. That person can be managed properly of depression. Management, yes. So that's it.
Thank you for that answer. That's fantastic. Right. Just let me see what the audience is saying. You know, it's buzzing as you said. So let's see what they're saying. We have a comment from Dumebi, and she says, "This is very informative and nice. Thank you, Dumebi. We're glad that you're finding it informative. So let's go to the next question. I know we're running out of time, but let's see how many we can get in before we run out of time."
All right. This question is for Dr. Adesalu, and it says, you highlighted, and it's from Ibrahim Oladapo on YouTube, watching us live on YouTube. And he says, you highlighted that algae are microscopic organisms, but why are they visible with an unaided eye?
Thank you for that question. I say that algae are microscopic and macroscopic in nature. The microscopic algae cannot be seen without the use of microscope. Why the microscopic can be seen without the use of microscope? And those microscopic algae are the one we call seaweeds, the common name for them. You've heard of the word seaweeds before. They are macroscopic algae. Now, if I understand that question very well, you know, most of the time when we are walking along the streets, you will see those green patches on the running gutter or stagnant water. But you see, for the fact that you are seeing that color is an indication that algae is around, and those algae are forming what we call clump. But those algae, you have to put them under microscope to be able to identify. So the thousands, millions of cells of microscopic algae can form a clump that you and I will see as green, slippery organisms and all that. But in that green, slippery organisms, you might have thousands of different organisms in it. But we can only identify it if you use microscope. Because most of the time, when you see green slimy thing, you say that's Spirogyra, that's Spirogyra, that's Spirogyra, because that was what we were taught in biology in a secondary school. But you'd be amazed that if you put your so-called Spirogyra under the microscope, it might not even be Spirogyra, it could be Microspora, it could be Cygnema, it could be any other organism. But because of that green pigment, remember we said that they have green pigment. So it's that green pigment that is giving us that colorful, clumpy forms of thousands of cells that we are seeing. So for the fact that I see that thousands of cells does not mean that cells, you can say that is Microspora or that's Spirogyra. You have to put them under microscope to be able to identify them properly.
So you still, at the end of the day, you still need the microscope.
Yeah, you have to put them under the microscope. For microscope, but those that are seaweeds, those ones you can see them without using microscope. Those ones, they form like leaves. When you go to beach or rocky beach or sand beach, you see all those ones like litters of leaves on the edge of the beach. Those ones are macroscopic in nature. But you see, you are just seeing them as an organisms. What makes up of them, the cellular level, the structural level, the morphology, you still have to put them under a microscope. But it's easier for us to say, oh, that is fucus, that is Podiciphonia, because they are macroscopic. But it will not be easy to say that is Podiciphonia so, or that is Podiciphonia this and that. Let me give this example. Each and every one of us has this the family tree. Your grandfather, your great-grandfather, down to yourself. So the generic name is that your father's name. Like each of us are bearing that name. And because we are women, when we get married, we change our generic name to our husband's name. Now, that is why in the family of 4, if anyone comes to your family and say, I'm looking for instance, I'm looking for Ozulumba now. The question that we ask in Ozulumba's family is, which of the Ozulumbas? So Ozulumba is the generic name. It's like family name. Now, if the person now said that I'm looking for Tochukwu Ozulumba, it will be easier for that person to call Tochukwu you are being asked for. So go and attend to your visitor. So that is the species name. That species name is one that gives me my Taofikat, is one that gives you flora and all that. So now the same organisms, if you see them, because we know that they belong to this generic name, we can say this is Podiciphonia. But merely looking at it, can I say it's Podiciphonia A? The answer is no. Can I say it's Podiciphonia B? The answer is no. Now that is for macroorganism. The same thing for micro. But the micro, you see it, you just say it's green. But in these green plants that we are talking about, there are thousands and millions of groups in it. So we can say that is algae, it's slimy to touch, it's slippery and all that. But you cannot say that it's Microspora, it's Spirogyra, is this and that, until when you put it under microscope to identify. So that's why we have the microscopic one and the macroscopic one.
Okay, so the seaweed we see in the water, for example, when you're driving along Third Mainland and you see, is that algae?
I don't think you will see seaweed when you're driving through Third Mainland Bridge again in
on the water now. Or have they removed them, or some of the bridges?
Those are water hyacinths.
Okay.
We are talking about that. Those ones are water hyacinths.
Okay.
Those
no, when you mention seaweed,
you can see that those ones are floating.
Yes.
The difference between the macrophytes and the seaweeds. The seaweeds will be at the edge of the water line, the coastal area.
Okay. All right. So there's a difference. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Okay.
So the one that you normally see on our water body on that on mainland macrophyte, it could be Ceratophyllum, it could be Iconia, Chrysippus, and many other in that group.
Wow. And also in fact, I always thought they were all seaweed, but thank you for that. But then when you say macro and micro, so macro is something that you can see with the naked eye. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Just to
you can see with the naked.
Just to explain to the audience. So macro is the things you can see with the naked eye. And micro usually means you need the microscope to can see properly.
Yes, it's microorganism and all that. You cannot see microorganism with our eyes. It have to be aided with the use of a microscope. So the same thing with this. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Just a comment for Elsie regarding how long it takes for drugs to come to the market. Akinola said, yeah, it's sure a long process. He or she remembers they had a whole long slide talking about drug process in pharmacology. So yes, it can take a long time and a lot of money, like you said, Elsie. Okay, Dr. Tochi.
All right. Lots of questions. This one is, it's a good thing you mentioned Ms. Elsie, because this question is directed to her. It's from Jidobi Justice on YouTube, and he says, why is it important to eat before taking a drug?
Well, obviously, well, not obviously. Before you take a drug, first of all, it's a doctor would have prescribed, oh, take this drug before or after meal. And we have drugs that are for before meals, probably an hour before meals or after meal. But then if your drug is to be taken after meal, for instance, and then you take it without eating, you could have some, your stomach would react to it, and then it could lead to some complications with your stomach, which is why the advice you take probably a glass of milk or take proper food before you take them. An example is anti-malaria. People actually think that, oh, it's like paracetamol, they can just take whenever you want. But in actual sense, you should take food before you take drugs, because it would also help in the breakdown of the drug, and then it would help you because, okay, let me say, sometimes you might take a drug and then you wouldn't, and then you haven't eaten. You might have some reactions to it. You might feel like you want to purge, or you might feel very weak, but then that's because you didn't actually do what you should have done, which was to eat. So it's just to prevent the side effects of these drugs from getting worse, or even from experiencing it in total. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So how many more can we squeeze in, Dr. T?
Okay, let's take this.
How many more have we got? Let's see, how many can we squeeze in?
We've got, I think, about at least 10 questions.
Wow, speakers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Let's see what we can do.
This one is it's directed to Miss Fatimah Anwoju, and it's from Haishat Ahmed on YouTube, and she says, can gene-dependent depression be inherited?
Yes, it can be inherited. Yes, some mental disorders that have been identified that have been implicated in some individuals have been known to also be inherited from either from the mother or from the father. There are some genes have actually, they play a role in their predisposition in this in coming down with them in different individuals. So any mental disorder that have been known to occur in individuals that have been present on, let me put it like this. The answer is yes. Gene-dependent depression, if it is inherited, is it inheritable? Yes, it is inheritable, because when anything that have been found on genes, as long as it is transmitted from the parents to the children, yes, it is inheritable. So that question is yes. And for this case of depression, there are lots of genes that have been known to be associated with depression. I mentioned some in my video. The HCR2A gene and the COM2 genes are genes that have been found in individuals that and it predisposes them to depression. We all have these genes, no doubt. I also have COMT gene and I also have HCR2A gene, but there are some peculiar differences that brings about this, which is called the SNP, the SNPs, the single nucleotide polymorphisms that these people carry. They carry some particular single nucleotide polymorphism on these genes that predisposes them to having depression later on.
What does
So
this SNP do?
These SNPs make me different from you. They bring about differences on these genes from between me and you. So these SNPs bring about the differences between me and you. So if I carry this particular SNP on my gene,
Yeah.
it predisposes me into having depression. So probably now, if I lose somebody very dear to me,
okay,
because I carry this particular SNP on my COMT gene that is responsible for the production of neurotransmitter. Let me say serotonin, for instance.
Yep.
Serotonin is the happy chemical that brings about happiness. Exactly. So if I carry this particular SNP, if I have this particular SNP, which makes me different from you in a way, that is the if I carry it, if I have this SNP on my COMT gene, so it predisposes me into having depression. So any little stress I have from my environment, probably I lose a loved one, might predispose me into having depression, which might not go away on time, even with support of family, even with support of the community, even with societal support. It might not help me on time to go back to my normal body personality. So I might wallow in depression for a long period of time and would age and I'll need what's it called, some drugs in helping me go back to my normal body personality. So yes, genes that are inherited, fully inherited, in fact, either from the mother or from the father. In some cases, both parents can transfer it to the child. Thank
Wow.
you.
Okay. Wow, it's all very fascinating. This body is amazing. You know, that's not just the human body, but just the whole environment around us. This, the research brings it out, and it just makes it it's just so fascinating. So many things to learn, so many things we still need to learn and know and find out. Okay. Thank you, Fatima.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Tochi.
Okay, we've got a question here for Dr. Adesalu, and it's from Abdul Wahid Badmos, and he says, how can we make cultivation of algae to be of commercial importance? And he's sent that question watching it live from YouTube.
Dr. Adesalu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. When you are talking about, if I understand the question, is about cultivation of algae, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the question again? Can you repeat it? I'm sorry for that.
So he says, how do we make cultivation of algae to be of commercial importance?
Oh, okay. Cultivation of algae can be of commercial importance if the governments are interested in it. I've always been an advocate of that, because remember what we have talked about this algae now. It means they are important, whether we like it or not. And we can start cultivating it and making business out of it. Say, for instance, one of those microorganisms that I mentioned, spirulina. If any one of us decides to have a spirulina farm now, those pharmaceutical industries that use spirulina for the supplement production will have to source for that raw material, because spirulina here is raw material. So they can source for it and you get paid for it. But the cultivation is not so tough or difficult, because algae is a free gift of nature. You know, initially, when we were in secondary school, our teachers taught us, economics, that the land is a free gift of nature. You agree with me that land is not free gift of nature. You must have your money to get land. So I was thinking one day that I would just call my economics teacher and say that, sir, you said it's a land is a land free gift of nature. Maybe I will just go to Banana Island now, start building my house. Maybe they will not collect money from me. It's not like that. So algae, for now, is the only free gift of nature, because if you have a cup, a glass cup of water, just put it beside your window pane in your house. So far there is light penetration. Within 3-4 days, you know that this organism will grow, because they have spores, and the spores are everywhere. And that is why when you have a keg, white keg, after some time, you start seeing all the green patches inside it, that you use your hypo and all that to clean them. Those things that you are cleaning, a lot of money. That's what I'm saying now. So we can cultivate it, we can make it commercial, but it has to be in the interest of whatever establishment want to achieve. If the federal government is interested, you all agree with me that they will make announcement about it, and it will be done. If any company is interested in making use of those organisms that we have freely, we can cultivate it. So it's of commercial value, as we ask the question. And how do we make it easy? The only easy way is to have people that will invest or come and learn about these things and start bit by bit. You can be an entrepreneur. Like, for instance, in my university now, we are trying to have an algae farm. In that algae farm, we'll have lots of algae culture. Remember, all these organisms we are talking about has to be monocultured. You have to be prepared, and you know that they are clean strain and all that. So if you have monoculture of different organisms, if you want to buy spirulina now, we know how much you will sell it for you. If you want to buy chlorella, we know how much we will sell it for you. You want to buy the common spirodera, Iglena, all of us, you heard about Iglena. So all those things are money-making organisms. So it's just about the interest and investment mentality that we have in this part of the world. And that is why you see that most of the products that we have from these organisms are from Asia. They are from Asia, because they're making use of it. They are producing cosmetics, algae oil, and all that from this. Wow. And that is what we are trying to do here now. Hopefully we'll get some of our people to be interested in it and invest. When I say invest, it's not about money now. It's about, first of all, know the value that this organism can offer and the type of solutions that this organism can render in our SDG 17. Out of those 17, these organisms are involved in almost SDGs 1 to 17 that we are monitoring for now.
Thank you very much. Now we are fast running out of time, and we have a lot of questions still to be answered, but I can only take one more. So, Dr. Tochi.
All right, this one, please. Yeah, it's been a lot of questions, but of course we're coming back tomorrow. So this one is for Dr. Adeleye, and it says, are there foods that pregnant women should avoid to lower risk of gestational diabetes?
Well, thank you for the question. When it comes to foods, yes, would advise you eat a lot less of carbs, carbohydrates, and more fiber foods that are rich in fiber. And you could, then another thing we also advise is, one, when you know you have probably a history of diabetes, or you have, when I mean history, it could be you, it could be maybe your father or your mother. Once you are tested to be positive for gestation or pregnancy, tell your doctor, who we commonly call your GP or your gynecologist, that, okay, you have this history, then they will guide you on the specific foods to take. But we always recommend you take foods rich in fiber, foods rich in vegetables, which are also eventually rich in fibers and vitamins. Definitely, you still have to eat the carbs because you need the energy, but less of it and more of fiber-rich foods and vitamins.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you. That's your answer. Sorry, did I cut you off, Dr. Adeleye? Have you finished?
No, just summary. Yeah,
all right. Thank you for that. Now, because of time, we're gonna have to move on. That has been amazing. The engagement has been wonderful for this first session. We are back tomorrow as well for session 2, where we'll be interviewing the other 6 researchers and speakers and we'll be having the interaction. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Oluwatoyin Durango, who's the lead for the organizing team for this Soapbox Science 2020. Dr. Orode, over to you.
Hello, everybody. So I've been behind the scenes, making sure that all the technology is working according to plan.
Yes.
All right. So it's been so exciting. I'm sure the audience has been on fire. So I've been watching all the chats from Twitter, from Facebook, where else? On Periscope. I'm sure some of you didn't know we were on Periscope. Where else? On YouTube as well. So thank you so much, speakers. It has been a long journey, but it has been an exciting one, I'm sure you can imagine. What I'd really love to do right now is, while I make some announcements and thanks and all of that, is to bring some of our live audience in to just come and give some feedback to you. So I hope that will work. So I'm gonna wait for that to happen in a minute while we're talking. Oh, okay.
We have one person joined us already.
Who is that joining? So
Tosin Akinola.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm here.
So Tosi, thank you for joining. She's been in the audience and she won a quick random selection, like a bingo. And everyone had to say, I'm in. And then we randomly selected one person. So Tosi, please go ahead and share your feedback or whatever with the, where are you joining us from, first of all?
Okay, good afternoon.
Let's see your face.
Joining. Okay.
Yay!
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for choosing me randomly. I'm joining from Ikeja, Lagos. I joined through one of my favorite lecturer, Dr. Professor S.O. Elias. So she sent the link to us to join. And I'm really excited that I joined because I've learned a whole lot from the experiences of people and of sciences and researchers. I'm a physiology student, a final year physiology student. So it's a whole lot trying to, get a career path and all that. So it's very enlightening for me, basically. So I'm really excited. But I have one question. I don't know if I can ask a question.
Yeah, please go ahead. So keep it short and brief. Go ahead.
Okay. So I've always heard people say that, like, for example, as a physiology student, you have to go abroad for your master's to actually get opportunities and all that. So I really want to know, is it always like that? Can I do my master's in Nigeria and still get like opportunities and be open to stuff? I just wanted to know. Thank you so much to everyone. All of the speakers are amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And thank you to my lecturer as well for sending the link to the group so that we can join. I'm so grateful.
Awesome. So which speaker is going to answer that for us? Let's have two insight from 2 speakers who are in physiology.
Oh, Dr. Adeleye wants to take it.
A thumbs up. So who else is going to do thumbs up? Adeleye, please go ahead.
Okay, I would first answer because many people believe that for you to attain certain positions in the society, you have to study abroad. I'll tell you, my first degree, Olabisi Onabanjo University, commonly called OSU, like OSU. People, when you hear OSU, they look at you like, that ras babe, that kind of a mindset. So it initially it was mind, it could have crippled my mind and prevented me from moving forward. But I made up my mind that irrespective of the so-called OSU that people always believed, I was going to be a different OSU person. And I would say, yes, it kept on pushing me. First, I had my first degree, second degree in University of Lagos in cell biology and genetics, third degree in same University of Lagos. I've never traveled out of the country for a course. So if you understand what I'm trying to say, and I would say my passion for
making something out of myself and developing myself has actually helped me to sit with ministers, commissioners, and director generals. So it now depends on you. You don't have to go outside the country to make something out of yourself. You have to create something for yourself, create that niche for yourself, one. Then there is something we say, opportunity means, success actually means when opportunity meets up with preparedness. Now, if I had not been preparing myself along the way, when I had the opportunities, I wouldn't have been prepared for them. I would say I rushed through the ranks, yes, to have been, that so-called OSU girl, now being a country account manager for research and government for a multinational that has companies in 66 countries, a German company. So it didn't come by me sitting in my house and folding my hands and expecting something to drop on my lap. You have to work for it, meet the right people, create the right relationships. You have a lot of mentors around you. Get close to them, get involved. People say the sky is the limit. I'm sorry, that's a myopic mindset. Heaven is your limit. There is a whole lot of opportunities after the sky.
Thank you very much. Awesome. So next we have, responding to Miss Akinola, very short, 30 seconds, Dr. Taofikat Adesalu is going to give you one more response. So we're waiting for our next invite from the audience to join us, so one more person, and we're going to do a rapid fire response, and then we're going to bring it to a close. So Dr. Adesalu, please go ahead responding to Ms. Tosi Akinola's question. She's joining us live from the audience. Welcome, Tosi. Yes. Dr. Adesalu, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Orode. I didn't hear Dr. Adeleye response to her. So that was why I volunteered. So if she has done that, I don't think I have to, so that I don't contradict what she has mentioned.
Okay, Fatima,
Okay.
Fatima would like to give you a response. Was there anything in addition to what Dr. Adeleye said? If it's the same thing, then we'll just move on. But if there's an additional thing, it's fabulous to hear from you, because I think you're one of our youngest scientists on the panel this year. Everyone watching.
Okay, no, it's not different. It is not different.
Sorry, 1 second. Miss Anwoju Fatima was one of our top volunteers last year. So I'll talk about that more in a minute. And she's on the speaker panel this year. So we're so happy to have her on board. I remember last year she was saying, I'll do volunteering this year. And then next year, I still remember. She was the first person to turn up that day. So
yes, she was.
Fabulous to have you on board this year. So please go ahead.
Oh, thank you very, very much. It is not different. In fact, Dr. Adeleye is my mentor. She's one of the persons propelling me and pushing me and doing everything. I had the mindset of Tosi Akinola when I finished my BSc. Oh, I want to travel. Oh, I do not. Oh, she was one of the persons that, in fact, I had the admission, but the scholarship was not forthcoming. But my father does not have money, so I had to stay back. There's no scholarship, but I had the admission. So how will I survive? How will I do it? But then I sat back. I listened to Dr. Adeleye. My supervisor was also there. He said, okay, you can start. You can do this. Because of the fact that I am here, I am still making waves. You can do it. Akinola Tosi, you can always make it here in Nigeria, and heaven is your limit, like Dr. Adeleye said.
Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So now we have a second last person that won the raffle draw from our audience, and that is, would you please put your video on? That is Islamiyah Oladeji.
Okay.
Are you? Oh, fabulous!
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, where are you joining us from today?
I'm joining from Ikeja, Lagos State University of Medicine.
Awesome. So how did you hear about the event?
From my lecturer, Dr. Elias.
Ooh,
she asked us to join. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So do you have any questions for one of our speakers? We're just going to take one quick question. It could be a question on anything, your career path, whatever.
Okay, ma'am, not really, because Tosi already asked. Like, we've always been inquisitive about how to become successful in physiology. But our lecturers have said you can always become whatever you want to become here in Nigeria. You don't have to travel abroad or anywhere to become something. And I'm so happy Dr. Elias did this. Like, it's an eye-opener. Like, I've learned a lot of things from my lecturers and my scientists. Thank you, everybody. And I'm so grateful that I attended this program.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Tosi and Miss Oladeji, for joining us from the public audience. So that's just to show you that people are engaged and watching. We're so glad to have you on board. Thank you for taking part in the prize draw.
Come on.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. Okay, so we've been live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Please keep the chat box on fire and keep sending in those questions. We're also going to be live at 4 p.m. tomorrow for our other 6 speakers. So we're hearing things about we're hearing things about from farm to table, battery contaminating, so many things. So exciting, isn't it? So right now, I'd just like to say that without our sponsor, Soapbox Science Lagos November 2020 session would have been very, very, much more difficult to have. And I'd just like to acknowledge all our sponsors, Elias and Associates. So all those beautiful lab coats you see our speakers wearing, the speaker packs. We have Alpha Pharmacy and Clinic, who has made us to be able to have this live streaming event come to you. Encapsulate Healthcare Solution, who took care of some of the gifts that we gave some of our speakers when they had their webinars and their trainings. And Successful Students Mentoring, bringing out their expertise in different aspects of all throughout the event. I'd just like to say a very, very big thank you to our supporters, which are live audience. Thank you so much for taking your time. I know data is expensive and you have invested data. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. And last but not the least, I would like to continually thank our speakers for seeing the value in Soapbox Science. It has been a pleasure to bring your research and your work straight to the Nigerian public and to celebrate women in STEM, in science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine. It's really been an amazing experience. It's been 12 months in the planning. Yes, put on your videos, everybody. It's been 12 months in the planning and just 4 days to execute this long journey. And I'd just like to appreciate you and say thank you very, very much. So we have lots of other questions in the comments coming through. Remember, we're live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Nigerian time. You get to meet all our speakers again. Yes, Dr. Adeleye, this is her second participation. She was there last year. Thumbs up to you, Dr. Adeleye, for giving us your time again to come and share your exciting work that you're doing in Merck Pharmaceuticals. We have people from Olabisi Onabanjo University. Thank you for the universities for supporting their speakers where they have done so. We have people from LASU, Lagos State University, University of Lagos, Agari Pharmaceuticals, University of Ilorin. Oh, amazing stuff. Thank you, sponsors. Thank you, attendees. And right now, I'd just like to quickly do this, is to talk about 2021. Yes, we love to start early in this November session. You have to start early. Contact the speakers. They will tell you all the things you have to do. They'll be sharing tomorrow. Some of them will bring them up to tell you how they have improved so far. So would you like to be a speaker on Soapbox Science's platform? Are you a female researcher in any area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine? It would be our pleasure to host you. Feel free to register your interest by sending an email to soapboxsciencelagos@gmail.com. The team will be posting that email address right now in the chat box. So don't think that it's only for people who are professors. As far as you have some research experience, you can apply. We have people from a wide age range on our speaker platforms. Soapbox Science has been participated in globally, over 1,000 scientists, and reaches over 100,000 so far audience all over the world, from Munich to Germany to Lagos, to Portugal, all over. So you are joining a global network of women scientists bringing science to the public. So without much ado, right now going on in the comment boxes all over Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, is our feedback form. Thank you, our audience. We would really love to hear your feedback. We want to hear your opinion. How was Soapbox Science 2020 Lagos November session? If you don't give us your opinion, we will not be able to improve. And we want to tell our speakers all the lovely things you have learned from them. So please, right now, you begin to see the links. Share, please complete them. It will only take you maximum, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. So I'd just like to say thank you so much. Everyone put on your video. Thank you for being a part of Soapbox Science live Q&A session with our first set of speakers. And tomorrow we'll see you at 4 p.m. Nigerian time for another round with our other 6 speakers. Speakers, would you just like to say thank you while you log off?
Thank you. Go on.
Everybody wave.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Tomorrow.
Thank you.